Oh, I'm sorry. Are you disappointed that you're not seeing Erin in this chair? Well, too bad. It's me, Scott. I've escaped from the bubble. The girls are off this week, so Joe and I figured we would cobble together some of the best of More Love. So here's what's on deck. We're going to start with that time that Erin and Rebecca almost got on a reality show. The reality show is called The Blox, and it's produced by Wes Bergmann, who's currently on The House of Villains. They're going to talk about a little behind the scenes there. Is it a scam? Is it not a scam? Is reality TV show actually real or is it not real? You be the judge. Next up, we're shifting gears. We're going to talk about the role that fear plays in politics. How apropos, being we just had an election and everything. This is a deep dive into what people are really feeling, how to bridge the gap between our divides, because as we all know, there's a lot of division in this country. So it's an important conversation. And then finally, we're going to close up with an interview with Erin's bestie, Nina Pearson. She's going to talk about imposter syndrome in the workplace, how it's more than just a habit. It's actually a survival technique for a lot of people. I'm very familiar with imposter syndrome, and it's a great conversation, a lot of key takeaways. We will be back next week with a new episode of More Love. Until then, sit back, relax, and enjoy. We'll see you.
Hey, it's me, Erin. Thanks for joining us on the More Love podcast. Do not tell Rebecca, but this podcast is about empathy. She likes people to think she's dead inside, but the truth is she's a big-time feeler who has truly helped me uncover that empathy is my superpower. Oh, here she comes.
Hey, bestie.
Hi, love.
What are you doing?
Oh, just getting ready to host a podcast.
A podcast? About what?
Life. Our life as best friends, who are more like sisters.
Ah, yay! I love us, and I can't wait to share our stories with the world.
Especially the ones that involve us pushing each other, right? To be our most authentic selves.
Oh, man. Okay.
Okay, so this is where the part about empathy with boundaries starts to come in. Mm-hmm. So I get this response from Ruth. Now,
within.
Let me tell you, I sent the first one August 27th at 8:55 a.m. She wrote a response August 27th at 8:05 p.m.
Okay, so
got right back to
right, 12 hours.
Well, I mean, within
12
one
hours.
day.
Right, same day.
That's pretty fast in my mind.
Here's the response. Hi, Erin. I spoke to Cassie about your questions. Still don't know who Cassie is, but glad we talked to her about your concerns today. She is Wes's COO of Beta Blox and helps produce and direct this entire event. Wes founded this company 14 years ago and has a master's in entrepreneurship education. Side note, please tell me where that's from.
Listen.
Please tell me where that degree is from. I would like to maybe just do a quick cross check on entrepreneurship education.
Mm-hmm. Class at Thursday.
Yeah. It's Trump University. He has written and developed all of his curriculum, his company services, and this show, ! We don't allow cast members to stay off property or make amendments to the contract. So unfortunately, if that's going to be an issue, we will have to rescind the invitation for you to attend. Also, we're filmed at the Osage 8 times this year. It had an overall positive experience every time. The Osage location we are staying at is rated an 8.5 out of 10, and we have never experienced anything like you're calling out. I understand problems like the ones you've listed below can happen in any hotel or resort or any major city, unfortunately. And I'm not saying they did not, but we have not encountered anything like that. Respectfully, we thank you for your interest in our program, but we feel we should decline your invitation due to your request to amend our contract, stay somewhere else, as well as your concern about what qualifies Wes and the coaches he brings in to educate and mentor you.
What do you mean asking questions? You're out. Forget
Thanks
it.
for your questions and concerns. We wish you success in your business always. Okay, I get that. I get that email.
Wow.
I pull into Target. And I get Rebecca right on the horn. I go, Well, we're out before it's started. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're out. We're on the blocks. We're out of the blocks. Now, her first concern, oh no, I just sent this email to my boss. I just sent this email to my boss. I gotta go renege that. I gotta go take that back. All right. But she can tell in that moment, that's not the time to say it because I am both. I'm sad for a minute. I'm confused for a minute. And then I get angry, right? So my sadness was, oh my God, I was so excited about this. Maybe there's a way this can still be salvaged. I want to say that was 6 seconds.
Okay.
That happened.
Okay.
Then shortly after that, I felt the shame and guilt of being neurodivergent and like maybe my email was too pointed. So maybe I can sometimes have a tendency to come off as like, here's the question. Like, I'm not going to spend some flowery language making sure. I'm like, what qualifies Wes? What qualifies the business coach? Maybe she read it, right, in that way. I end up saying that out loud to Rebecca, and her first response is, oh, hell no. Hell no. That is not what's happening right here. That is not what's going on. Your email was completely appropriate. And so that one was about 4 seconds. And then the anger hit. And here I am.
No, I specifically said, she goes, I'm going to write Ruth back. And I said, you're not doing anything tonight. I said, you listen to me. You're doing absolutely nothing. In fact, if you do choose to write it, you're not going to send it. We're going to talk through it tomorrow morning. And you say, okay.
And you say, I got to go because I got to get I
had to do something.
My whatever in the crock pot or something.
I don't know.
I had to do something. To do something. I don't know.
I probably hadn't made dinner yet.
You did do a good job talking me through. No, this is not you. No, I think we dodged a bullet here. I think maybe this, wasn't the best opportunity for us. I start to do my own internalizing. So I start to say, no, this is when someone's asking reasonable questions, if you can't give reasonable answers back, it's because you a sham. That's the only reason you can't give these reasons back, right? So she processes this with me. And of course, I mentally write the email in Target.
I'm surprised you weren't voice noting.
I know.
Yelling.
While I'm going down the freezer section.
As you're getting whatever you're getting.
Grabbing some pierogies, throwing them in the cart. And I'm like, so Ruth. Right? So I'm mentally writing this whole thing. And I get it. I got it. I am fired up. I am so ready. I get home. I text Mark. I say, I'm in the garage. Can you please get the stuff out of the trunk? I got to go write an email. And at this point I had said, we're off the blocks. He's like, what do you mean? Because he's all excited. So he comes out into the garage and I said, I got to go write an email. He's like, what is going on? And I said, I will tell you in a minute. I just need to write this email because it's fire right now. It is so good. And I need to make sure that I have it and I just send it. Then I'll come out and help you get whatever.
Notice she says, send it. I said, don't do anything until you read it to me.
So that was, what did I say? It was
clearly.
I said
she
it was
doesn't
8.
listen.
So Ruth sends that at 8:05. 8:56.
She sends an email back.
This is what I
when
send
I
back.
say you wait
You ready for this, Scott? This is.
But I don't see it till the next morning. So
but I BCC Rebecca into it,
right?
The lawyer into it,
right.
My financial advisor into it,
right?
Ryan Troop into it, because I told him we were going to build the blocks. So I made sure everyone had their update.
I wake up in the morning to this email. This is what I wake up to.
Hi, Ruth. Thank you for your passive-aggressive email. It confirmed for me what I already suspected, that the Blox is a low-rate reality TV show that lacks the funding and expertise to be successful and preys on unsuspecting new-to-be entrepreneurs looking for their chance to get on TV. If you had a successful program, you and Cassie would have read my email as a way of seeking clarity about my company's financial investment in this opportunity. Instead, you got defensive. Your seemingly shocked response to me asking questions about your contract, parentheses, questions you encouraged in your initial email, is also telltale. As such, I suggest that you amend your welcome email to incoming participants below to read as follows, quote, I'm writing to make sure you are welcome and encouraged to email me with questions, concerns, and comments. I'm aware that this is an unusual opportunity. It's not inexpensive and is a notable investment in time. So please, please, please write me with bullet points about anything I can help you gain clarity on so we can get your homework done as soon as feasible and then move on to the next fun steps. Please note, however, if you do send me comments, questions, or concerns, we will swiftly decline your invitation to participate because we do not like entrepreneurs getting too close to the truth of what we're truly offering here.
I love it.
End quote.
I love it.
Oh, and you might also consider amending the last 2 page numbers on your contract. 13 of 12 and 14 of 12 are impossibilities. Good day. And no, really, best of luck to you, Erin.
Oh, God bless you.
Oh my God. So I wake up to this and I
wish I could hear her read that.
Well, I can.
Never got a response, guys. I know you're surprised.
I'm dying.
Not fire. Absolute fire. I never got a response. I then swiftly removed my name and email address from anything associated with this hack job, quote unquote, reality TV show. Because now I'm like, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Y'all are
Scammers.
not okay.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny because as soon as she had called me and said our offer was rescinded, I then replied to my boss with huge update in the subject, and I said, so we got the contract and we asked some questions, and they it's just not going to work out, something like that. And he writes back, "Oh, that's too bad."
This incredibly long, flowery email. He's just like, "Okay, thanks for letting me know." Oh, all right, okay. I hate
That's
to
what I
be
wanna
the empath here, but
Trying to see both sides.
I really am curious about getting to the bottom base of why people feel the way that they fear. Where does that fear come in both sides? Because honestly, I'm not so crazy Democratic or so crazy Republican, right? I was going to surprise a whole lot of people that I happen to be quite middle, and on certain issues tend to lean one way or the other depending on the issue. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
They force you to make a decision.
But
it's
they
the
talk
loud
to
ones
you,
that are
right. Or, if you identify with anything that is Democratic, you're immediately called a snowflake. Right. And I'm like, well, this is fascinating.
Libtard.
Right?
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But what I do think at the end of the day for me is I am and can hang with a lot of people who have very different political beliefs or thoughts or feelings than I do. So long as we can have an open conversation that is leading toward an educational outcome.
Right.
I'm not interested in wanting to debate certain things or why you're right or why I'm wrong. I just think people's capacity to be able to have those conversations is quite limited. And that's why I can't hang with them.
I think it's limited because they want an answer and they want it to be their way. So for me, what I'm hearing is you would like to have a conversation and everybody just, there will be no different anything. It's just to have a conversation.
But it all goes back to, all of this circles back to where people get their information.
Sure.
And so when someone says, well, the economy is going crazy right now, and Biden, the Biden administration did this and they added 350,000 new jobs. And then someone else says, well, that's actually not true because these jobs are all part-time jobs and they're not, and so they'll take that.
A job's a job.
Well, yeah, but a full-time job and a part-time job, it's kind of a funky area. What would you rather have? Well, I'm not asking you.
You get 2 part-time jobs makes a full-time job. What's the fucking problem?
That's not true because 2 part-time jobs doesn't give you the benefits of 1 full-time job.
Okay, fine. Get married and get some benefits. I don't know what to tell you.
No, but you know what I mean? Like,
Find a partner.
I can take one fact, not me personally, but someone could say this, and I could say, well, where'd you hear that? Oh, I heard that on Fox News. Well, then you're fucking, you're full of shit. I heard that on MSNBC. Oh, well, you know what I mean? That's where do you know the information is coming from? Where do you know that it's right? Where is that information? Because that's what backs everybody's argument, is a story that comes out from some source. Look at Alex Jones. Alex Jones was going after those Sandy Hook people, saying that it was all a crisis, action, crisis actors, and none of those kids were killed. You never heard of that? He was because
I don't follow any of this.
He was forced to pay like billions of dollars in restitution because they were harassing these families who lost their children in this school shooting. And he and all of his conspiracy theorists were saying that it was a false flag, and they were just doing that to try to institute gun reform and all this kind of stuff, like crazy stuff.
But that's what I mean. Even if you could sit there and have a conversation till you're blue in the face. And we could all sit there and be like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Still doesn't change my mind. Still doesn't change how I
don't
feel.
think I want to hear as much as I want to try and understand where it's coming from.
But even if you do understand that,
that's a slippery slope.
I'm curious about that. I'm curious about
really
where that's
hard.
coming from, because I don't believe that change happens or that movement happens until you understand the core of why someone is pushing out whatever it is that they're pushing out.
So once you understand the core, then what?
Then I determine whether or not there's potential movement, or if we deal with that core, let's say it's coming from a place of fear, and we manage that a little bit, do we start to see a change in the portrayal of what someone is saying?
It's definitely from a place of fear.
Always is.
Because people fear gay and lesbian and trans people. People fear immigrants from another country. People fear people who aren't like them. And that's where it all comes from.
Fear is a complex emotion. Fear is not just fear.
Right.
There's
where
a
does
whole
the fear
lot
come
of things.
from?
Exactly.
The fear comes from learned things that happened in their past, or what they were told, or what they saw.
Sure.
An experience that they had.
But
theoretically.
I don't want to sit around a fire and just have conversations for conversation's sake.
Pass the marshmallows,
But I
please.
do think that there is benefit in having conversations about what makes you tick, what makes you think this way. I could sit with Philip all day and be like, tell me a little bit more about why you're thinking the way you're thinking about these kind of things. That helps me understand him. That helps me understand his level of functioning. That helps me understand all of that.
But how do you do that and get to the point when if you hear something that you believe is not correct, or that maybe is not correct? For instance, Pizzagate. There were people who were adamant that there was a pizza shop in Washington, D.C. that the Democrats were running a child prostitution ring from there, to the point where a guy showed up with an AR-15 to try to liberate all the prisoners.
And were there any?
No, it was a pizza place. But that was something that went like on Reddit and all these other things that all these conspiracy theorists authentically believed was true. And so when you get to the point where you're like, all right, so now you've explained that to me. Now I'm here to tell you that that's not true, or like, how do you work that?
I don't focus on the details of what it is that they're telling me. I continue to focus on the basis of why they believe what it is that they believe. And we'll give it valid time and effort to determine whether or not what they are believing is sound and reasonable. I might even look into some things myself in the Pizzagate situation. I might be like, interesting, where are they coming from with this? And where is this right? I'd look at some of the sources. I'd look at some of the stuff that was being provided to me, right? I'm not going down the rabbit hole of Pizzagate because my gut instinct says, and I don't know anything about that case, but my gut instinct says this feels a little far-fetched. Right. And it also feels like it would have been caught a whole lot earlier than this, than someone going in with an AR-15. That's just my baseline, is not to jump in and be like, I'm headed to the pizza shop,
To be skeptical. I don't engage in these kind of conversations with people who are diametrically opposed, because I don't do the research. I don't have.
Yeah, there's no way to come back and have an intelligent conversation because they will win.
Yeah, a lot of people will have articles and articles and articles, and you can't refute them unless you take a week to go back and find out who wrote the article, where it came from, all that stuff. And it's like, I don't have the time. I don't have the patience.
But I think my question is, why do you care? Who cares?
Who?
I wouldn't care.
Why would you want to even entertain? I mean, I like to entertain the conversation and just let them talk because they really just like to hear themselves talk.
Here's my stake in the game. I have a trans son. Mm-hmm. I have a trans son who's on the autism spectrum. Mm-hmm. And certain philosophies based on that I've heard from people on the right make me afraid for his future and for that of the people that he cares about. Mm-hmm. And so that's my stake in the game. That's where I care.
Subject
specifically, but a lot of it kind of comes together in the same idea of, okay, I have friends who are from other countries and are Mexican, and I fear for them. What are they, that one guy said, and I've seen this meme before, where it's like, people who speak with a foreign accent are brave because they're actually outwardly showing that they are not from here. Depends on where you are, of course. But you know what I mean? Like, so that kind of stuff. And I hope that all the rhetoric is wrong. I hope that all the fear that I have based on what people believe about trans people, I hope that that's all bullshit. And that they're like, no, we can do whatever they want, but I don't, based on what I see people sharing, I don't think that's the case. But it took my parents a long time to accept my son. Sure. And I still have to go, no, that's not his name. I have to correct them. And I understand. It's hard. It was hard for me too.
And people would respond to that with the, I don't pay attention to politics because I, just don't want to be involved in it as, wow, congratulations on your privilege, that you're in a privileged stance of not having to participate because you don't feel that any of the issues that are coming up right now affect you. And they do, and they affect your daughters, and they affect, other things that are going on. But it's okay to also say, I'm incredibly overwhelmed by what's going on right now. I don't feel educated about this subject. I don't feel connected enough to it in order to put my time, effort, and energy in it. And to say that from a feeling-oriented place instead of just saying, whatever, nobody cares about politics. That's where things get misinterpreted, right? Yeah, tons of people care about politics. People you care about about politics. There's people who care about politics that are out there literally in Albany holding up their little signs, right? There's people who care, and the general stance, we can't even agree on which side of those coins is okay. You can't even say you don't want to participate in politics right now without being criticized. Oh, yeah. Because people will come at you from that standpoint.
People can't breathe anymore without being judged or whatever. So then it becomes all right, whatever. Like just disengage because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Right.
So,
and that is a very normal response to overwhelm.
Oh, sure.
And we are seeing that at such a almost apathetic place in this country because people were already exhausted and now are just, they're done. They're all done. And so who are the best people in the world to prey on? The weak and the vulnerable.
Sure.
Right? And so I wish I knew how to fix it or how, like, just individually at one little place, you take a step to try and feel a little bit less of that burden every day because we all need it because we're all not okay right now. And coming into this election year, it's a couple of months away. I mean, it's not great. It's really not great. And I wish from a human suffering standpoint that we weren't about to go into what we're about to experience. I wish that for all of us because everyone's impacted when everyone's not okay. You said I've been working a lot on myself and I've been really trying to focus on how do I make myself a better person. And now I have a bunch of people who are validating that confidence in me and saying good things to me about, wow, you're really great at this, or you're really smart, or you're really all of these things. And that you're struggling a bit to accept that. Is that what you were saying? Like you're struggling to know, is it that you're wondering if it's authentic, or is it that you are struggling personally to hear it and believe it to be true?
So I think that it's hard to hear it and believe it to be true. And then like I started to be like, you know what? I am good at this. I am good at my job. I am, maybe that, they are right. And so it's gotten a little bit easier to accept that and to take that. Mm-hmm. But now it's just like all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't seem real to me. So am I just being duped? Do you really think that I'm good at that? Now I'm believing that I'm good at something, but I'm really not, because you're just saying that to get me to do more things. Like,
so now we're
sounds like a
starting to
mind
second
fuckery.
guess.
You know what? You know what this feels like to me? It's inner child. Your inner child. Something happened to you when you were little.
There's a lot of shit that happened to me when I was little.
But you know what I mean? Like, think about that. Something happened to you when you were little that you were probably praised or scolded or told you're not good enough. You know what I mean? And then almost like gaslighting. Mm-hmm. And so that stuck with you. Because, I mean, I struggle with the same thing.
So my whole life I've been told I wasn't good enough no matter what I did. So that's why it's so hard to believe it, because I've been knocked down so many times. And then now, okay, and I'm starting to believe it and see it. And then now it's just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's
it
like,
can't possibly be true.
If you really believe that and you see everything that I'm doing, then why are you continuing to keep doing that to me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does it matter who says it to you? If
No.
it's your supervisor versus if it's a direct colleague versus if it's me?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I don't experience that at all. I've never experienced that, I don't think, ever in my life. It's really weird. It's really fascinating. Mm-hmm. So for me, it comes down to, do I value the person who's giving me the feedback? And it is very rare for me to value you enough to give me that feedback. So it's such a small group of people, but once you're in that very small inner circle, you're both in that inner circle, I will value your feedback because I've trusted that your intentions are in the right place, that you are coming from a caring
It's not after
place.
you still try to prove to us that you're still right.
Oh, yeah.
First you do that.
Yeah.
Then we keep going in with, no, you're not.
No, you don't. You both placate me, and then I accept that because that's what I want you to do.
Right. Well, because we know you, we see you.
Nina tries a little bit harder than you do. You are real quick to turn the switch off and be like, oh, you know what? I didn't think of it that way. You're absolutely right. That was after 3 minutes. Nina's still like, no, I really do think. And then you'll just sit there and you'll drink your wine and you'll nod at Nina and you'll be like, it's going to be a lot better for you, Nina, if you're just like, I just haven't thought about it that interesting. Yeah, I really value that opinion, and just bow out, right? So, absolutely.
There's certain times.
I do feel comfortable in our relationship to have those conversations, be like, well, I don't understand that, or that doesn't make sense to me, or this is how I see it, or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But when it comes to the giving of feedback, so this would be a great example. We were talking about this on the last show. I don't care just because you're my supervisor that you have feedback for me. I couldn't give a shit. I don't care.
Based on the title.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah. Bye, Bob. Bye, Bob.
Bye.
Yeah, Bob. You could be the president of the institution. I don't care. Mm-hmm. You could be like, you know what? I really don't like how you're, and I'd be like, great. I don't like how you look. I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of things I don't like. I didn't know we were playing an I don't like game, you know? Mm-hmm. So it takes
I want to get to that point.
Right.
Well, that's the part that's confusing for me is, why are we giving everyone equal validity to be able to impact our own sense of self when those people have not yet earned the right to be there? Why, just because we have a supervisor who says you're doing a really great job, do we immediately think, oh God, have won the approval of my supervisor? And why are we also, when a coworker says, girl, you're doing too much, like you're really showing me up, why are we like, maybe I am showing them up? Because in my scenarios, I don't care that the supervisor told me I was doing a good job, and I don't care that the person below me thinks that I'm doing too much. I'm focusing on what I'm doing and what my intent is, and you both have such a strong self-conviction. I'm trying to figure out why you're not leaning more into that sense of self.
It's not safe.
to lean into your own sense of self?
Correct. Because authority is authority, regardless of how intelligent, smart you are. A title means something. That's just the way it is. In my experience, that's very difficult to reprogram in my brain.
In my case, I think that I had one of my coworkers come to me 3 weeks ago, and he's like, "Were you a middle child?" And I said, "No." "Are you sure you're not a middle child?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have a brother who's younger than me." And he said, I said, "Why are you asking?" He said, "Because you always have to try to make things right. You always have to make sure everything goes okay and everybody's happy. And that's a middle child thing." And I said, "No." And he goes, "Yeah, that's definitely a middle child thing. Are you sure you're not a middle child?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not a middle child." I said, "It's called survival of the fittest. And this is what I had to do to make sure that that's what I had to do to survive and to be safe."
Yep.
And so that's, I think, where I am still today is that it's just, I'm a people pleaser. And as long as everything is okay and everybody's happy then I'm okay.
Right.
But what about when they're not?
Then I need to make it okay.
Right. We're
the fixers.
We need to do something different to make it okay. Because at the end of the day, it's our fault, regardless.
And I don't know how to get
time.
I don't know how to not do that anymore.
Agreed.
How to
I'm
what?
exactly
How
the
to
same
not
way.
do what?
How to not be such,
be the fixer.
Yeah.
Is it ever possibly the case that it wasn't you?
No.
So everyone has this internal child, right? This internal trauma, these internal things that have happened to them. But that must not be true for other people? Is that what you're thinking? They don't have their own internal trauma and
I don't think about other people at all.
that is impacting you? It's not, if I come in here one day and I'm all ranting and raving about something and you're like, "Wow, Erin's really out of sorts right now." It's not because I just got in an argument with some other, driver on the street.
I
It's
triggered
because
you.
of you.
100%.
I don't know I don't know.
Blowing my mind.
I don't know if I think that it's always because of me, but I always want to make things right because I always want people to be okay.
Right. So, but
I
that
don't
comes
want
back
them to be burdened with everything that's going on. And plus, if they're happy, then I'm in a good spot. So I'm okay. I'm safe. So I'm going to make your life as easy as I can, and I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to fix the problem.
Exactly.
You said I'm safe.
Yeah.
And you've said I'm safe before. So we're safe when the illusion of comfort is present.
I loved that.
Me too. Isn't empathy amazing?
Well, we're amazing. I don't know about all this empathy stuff.
That's fine. I accept you wherever you are.
Oh, God.
I love you.
I love you too.
And if you love us, please like and subscribe to More Love, the Power of Empathy podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next time.